So I would say it's a bit ridiculous that Google's Pixel 6 flagship phones came out a whole half a year ago already, but frankly time has had absolutely no meaning since 2020. I mean, what even is time? What was also quite strange is that some high profile people here on the YouTubes didn't seem to like it very much. I used the Pixel 6 as my full-time phone for almost a fortnight when it first launched and I thought it was proper good. Not a perfect blow by any means, but one of the better flagships out there and more affordable than many of its rivals. But of course 6 months is a bloody long time when it comes to tech, even if those months seem to slip through our fingers like grains of sand covered in lard. And in those 6 months, not only has the Pixel 6 itself received several updates and new key features, but also lots of big rivals have launched, including the likes of the Xiaomi 12, the Oppo Find X5 and the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, in between my other phone reviews, I have been using the Pixel 6 on and off for the past 6 months, and I thought because it's half a year, let's revisit it full time, have my sim slapped in there for, again, close to 2 full weeks to do another in-depth review. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So first up, yeah, I'm still gutted that Google went bigger with the Pixel 6. Compact phones are proper rare now in 2022, although the excellent Xiaomi 12 is one that I would recommend if you want something for one-handed use. It is significantly more manageable compared with this here Pixel. But still, the standard Pixel 6 isn't exactly massive. It's not exactly a chore to wedge into your shorts when you're done with it, unlike the S22 Ultra, the iPhone Pro Max, or indeed the Pixel 6 Pro. And after 6 months of on and off use, including plenty of occasions where I've chucked it in a backpack in order to do photo comparisons and the like, the Pixel 6 still isn't looking too battered. That Victor's screen is a little bit scratched up, but nothing too horrific, while the Gorilla Glass 6 Arse is only lightly dusted with tiny wee nicks. Overall pretty good, especially considering I constantly forget just how bloody slippery this thing is. Basically, you shouldn't ever leave this thing on the arm of a sofa because it will be hurling itself off within seconds. And I still reckon the Pixel 6 looks rather lovely, although I would prefer one of the lighter colour options despite the slightly daft names. Every time I see it kinda coral or sorta seafoam, a little bit of vomit just kinda inadvertently hurls itself into my mouth. And it is kind of a shame that Google hasn't spaffed out any fresh new colour options for the Pixel 6 in the past few months, but who knows, maybe they're saving that for Google I/O. I'm definitely holding out for a predominantly purple or a comparatively cream. No issues with the water resistance here on the Pixel 6 either. That screen is actually impressively responsive when it's damp. I found that even if I'm chilling in a lovely hot bubbly bath catching up on my frankly horrendous inbox situation, the screen still works absolutely fine, even with damp mitts and condensation all over the thing. Then on the software side, gotta say, still a massive fan of that Android 12, which is still pretty damn easy to get on with, but packs in loads of great new features. One of the best new tools wasn't actually available when I first reviewed the Pixel 6, and I'm talking about the invaluable call screening feature. This is perfect for pretty much anyone who gets constant calls from private numbers, which I'd imagine is basically everyone these days. Just hit that call screening feature, the caller will be asked what on earth they ruddy well want, and then you'll get a full transcript of their response so you can decide whether to answer or tell them to bugger right off. And thanks to Google's ever-dependable transcription feature, this tends to work pretty well, even with like really strong northern accents and the like. Occasionally you can get a little bit confused, especially when it comes to slang and the rest, but not to the point where you can't actually figure out what's being said. And the rest of version 12 is rather pleasing, from the improved UI customization to the nifty privacy tools. And that live translation feature using the camera is also invaluable when you bugger about abroad, which is actually a thing that happens now in 2022, hooray! A shout out to the haptics here on the Pixel 6 as well, which are subtle enough so you barely even notice them most of the time and absolutely whisper quiet. And of course, because this is a Google handset, you've got those dependable OS and security updates coming through reasonably regularly. There have been a couple of delays here on the Pixel 6 series smartphones, most likely down to the fact they are using that Tensor chipset rather than just bog standard Snapdragon. And I know quite a lot of people have been affected by annoying bugs here on the Pixel 6 series smartphones. I think I've just been luckier than most. I did see quite a lot of weird, quirky little bits of behavior in the first month or so when the phone launched, but then subsequent updates seems to have crushed most of those bugs, thankfully. One little weird bit of behaviour I saw on the Pixel 6 these past 2 weeks was a couple of times the always on display, the battery charge wouldn't actually update on. So I'd wake up in the morning, check the charge, it would still be at like 12% as it was the night before. I'd freak out, I'd turn on the phone and it was actually at 100%, it was fine. And a couple of little weird UI quirks as well, and obviously it's not great to still be seeing the occasional little bug 6 months or half a year into a smartphone's existence, but at the same time nothing too traumatic. And if you are after a phone for the long haul, well, you've still got 4.5 years of security updates promised here on the Pixel 6, so it's definitely good for the foreseeable. Oh, also, that in-display fingerprint sensor has had some updates post-launch, but it can definitely still be a little bit ropey compared with some rivals. And although Google is still reportedly beavering away on its very own form of face recognition, that still hasn't transpired here on the Pixel 6. So occasionally I will find, maybe a couple of times a day, the fingerprint sensor craps out on me, so I have to enter my PIN instead. And while I'm griping about stuff, other absent features here on the Pixel, besides the face recognition, include that micro SD support. And I'm pretty much at capacity here on the 128 gigs of internal storage, so that's kind of annoying. I'm going to have to start deleting stuff soon. And also there's no headphone jack here either, but to be fair, most of the Pixel 6's premium priced rivals also lack the expandable storage, the headphone jack and all that good stuff. Luckily I've got no complaints when it comes to the Bluetooth audio streaming. I've been testing the Pixel 6 in super busy central London areas now that social distancing is basically a distant memory. Super dependable, no judders or anything, and you've also got a pretty beefy stereo speaker setup on here as well, so fine for, you know, kicking back with some YouTube or whatever, and even the screamiest of soft play venues. As for the screen tech, well, no real updates whatsoever on the Pixel 6's 6.4-inch 90Hz OLED panel. That auto brightness is responsive enough and clarity is good even when it's super sunny outdoors and you're rocking some shades. Contrast is sharp, colours are poppy. Like most flagship phones out there, it is a proper belter. Now, of course, one of the biggest changes as far as the hardware is concerned on the Pixel 6 compared with previous generations was Google's introduction of its very own Tensor chipset. And of course, Google promised an awful lot from its Tensor SoC, but as with the first generation of any kind of tech, it's best approached with the kind of caution usually reserved for an angry badger with a severe case of piles. It does sound like a lot of optimization has happened in the background with these various Google updates. But the Pixel 6 can still get pretty bloody toasty at times, especially when it's in constant use on quite a warm day. So for instance, just the other day, hopped down to the seaside because it was actually sunny, used the phone as a sat-nav for about an hour and a half while also streaming music to my car stereo, and at the end of that one it felt like molten bloody lava. Probably not helped by the fact that it is of course all black. But the good news is that it certainly seems to be much better at gaming these days. Certainly the likes of Genshin Impact, you can play on those higher detail settings at 60 frames per second, and the Pixel 6 doesn't absolutely shit the bed. These days it's actually a nice, smooth, satisfying experience to rival most of the flagship smartphones out there. And yeah, that arse end does still get quite warm, but not like horrifically toasty like it used to back when it first launched, so that's a plus. Oh, no real updates at all to that fresh new gaming mode either. You've got a small selection of tools, including the likes of a do not disturb for when you are gaming, and hopefully with future increments of Android that will expand and grow even more great new features and tools. Over the past 6 months, I've had absolutely no issues with the networking side of things either. I have heard people complaining about the Wi-Fi connectivity. I've got to say it's been absolutely perfect, absolutely flawless for me. No dropouts in connection or anything like that, and the 5G support has worked a charm too. As for the battery performance, well, that battery life doesn't seem to be quite as good as it was when Pixel 6 first launched, so it has degraded slightly, but I still managed to get all day play out of a full charge of this thing, no worries. The drain is next to nothing when the phone is idle. I still find I managed to get around sort of 6 hours of screen on time before the battery is fully drained. So certainly competitive compared with a lot of its rivals. As for the recharging speeds, well, that does seem not quite as strong as some of the competition out there. The wired recharging speeds tops off at 30 watts, which is pretty lethargic compared with the Oppos and the Realmes of the world, which generally top off at around 80 to 100 watts. For the majority of the time, it's not really an issue, especially if you're used to charging your smartphone overnight, for instance, but it is quite useful to just bung in a cable and in 10 minutes time have enough charge to see you through a full evening when required, as you can't really do that here on the Pixel 6. That said, at least you do get wireless charging support here on the Pixel, unlike some rivals like the Xiaomi 12, the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, one of the most obvious reasons to buy a Pixel 6 over rivals is still that mightily impressive camera tech, although Google's blower does have some fierce competition now in 2022. Its biggest rival is most certainly the Oppo Find X5, which boasts that fresh new Silicon chip for excellent low-light photo and video capture. Definitely go check out my review of that beast to see more, but like the Pixel 6, it is just as good at faithfully reproducing any scenario, day or night. These here Pixel shots are outrageously close to what you'll see with your peepers, so anyone who's serious about photography should be plenty happy. And in the evenings, you'll enjoy crisp results with fine detail and minimal grain. It's pretty much neck and neck between the Pixel and the Oppo, and both are slightly ahead of the standard Samsung S22 and S22 Plus. One of the other strengths of the Pixel 6 is capturing living, breathing subjects, especially those who happen to be off their tits on sherbet. Even in portrait mode, this phone does a bang-up job with zero blur when there's lots of flapping and bouncing about the place involved. Gotta say, I haven't really noticed any real difference in the photo and video quality here on the Pixel 6 in the past half a year. And certainly not beyond those first couple of updates right back when the Pixel 6 first launched. It still hits really hard on full auto mode, so if you simply want a point and shoot device, zero stress, zero effort, and good looking shots 19 times out of 20, well, the Pixel 6 will do the job. Outside of that, the Pixel 6 isn't quite as successful as some rivals. That 12 megapixel ultra-wide-angle shooter can't match the Find X5's 50 meg IMX766 sensor or other rivals like Vivo when it comes to color accuracy and detail even in lower light. Likewise, there's no telephoto zoom option here. On the standard Pixel 6, you'll have to upgrade to the Pro for that, but that's fairly standard at this sort of price point, like the Xiaomi 12, the Realme GT2 Pro also do not bother with the telephoto zoom. And some of the new camera features like the motion mode are still cack. Although Magic Eraser is a proper game changer and something I make regular use of to remove other pesky humans from my family pics. For your home movie needs, the Pixel 6 ain't as good as Samsung's expensive flagships, and it does pale in comparison to the Find X5 at night. But I'm still more than happy enough with my 4K memories here, including the excellent audio pickup and the dependable stabilization, so as usual you can move and shoot as much as you like. And also that 8 megapixel selfie shooter still produces hit and miss results. It's dependable enough in bright conditions, even coping well when the sun is right in your view, although in ambient light you will often get more grainy or warmer shots. And there you have it, there's my full 6-month re-review of Google's Pixel 6 flagship smartphone, and I do very much like it. I get on really well with this thing, enjoy having my SIM in there, that's for sure. Gotta say though, strong competition in 2022. Definitely check out the likes of the Realme GT2 Pro, the Oppo Find X5 and the Xiaomi 12 as well, all around that sort of £600 to £700 mark. But if you've also been rocking the Pixel 6 in your pants or pocket or whatever for the past few months, it'd be great to hear your own mini review down in the comments below. Let me know what you think and stay tuned for some hot Pixel 6a action, hopefully coming imminently. Please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a bloody lovely rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.